Westmoreland, and Ron Antonow.
Here.
We have 5 members present in the room, and the votes will be recorded by me.
Okay, the next thing is to approve the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda for today?
Move to approve.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Has everybody had a chance to read last year's minutes? Does anybody have any additions, omissions, or anything else they would like to make to those minutes?
Move to approve.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Tom, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Russ can only hear you. Okay.
Okay.
So as soon as we are ready, I'll take that off. As soon as we will talk, I mean, unless maybe we just put all the microphones on at once. Okay, so let's do that.
Yeah.
So we've got Hinkfus, Eck, Hutchinson, and Grant, and I don't need to hear.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
Next on the agenda is election of chairperson. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to nominate Mr. Azier as
Second.
chair.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next is to elect a vice chairperson. Do I hear a motion? I'll make a motion that Mr. Antone be vice chairman. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, next we, let's go, I think it's, we'll go to our attorney. I believe it's,
Just 1 second.
okay. New laws and new proceedings she would have, right?
Yes, you have that.
Yeah.
And the waiver. And the
Yeah.
option.
Yeah. Who else is on Skype?
That's, I can't.
I'm sorry,
I
no,
might
Terry.
be
Okay.
I may have one.
Alex, can you see who that person is on Zoom? Okay.
Okay.
Apologize. Let's do someone with their assessment.
Okay. I'll turn to our attorney for a presentation and adoption of procedures governing review process and new laws affecting our proceedings.
And I work in the financial background,
We're on to F1.
so I don't travel.
Adoption of board
I
review
don't
policy
meet
regarding
anybody
procedure
typically
waiver
outside of Schneider.
of
Everybody
board review
meets.
hearing
So I've been
requests.
there for 27 years.
Copy of the document is provided in the packet. It's same as usual and required by state law. No changes were made from 2024. The board should adopt unless you have an objection.
We should do that every year then, right?
Yes,
Even
it's
though,
required.
okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the,
Move
Our-
to approve.
okay, second? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next, I'll accept the motion to approve the adoption of board review regarding sworn telephone and written testimony.
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Do we have now new laws? I'll turn to you for
I
new
have
laws.
no new laws to report if the assessor's office has any updates, but I do not.
Okay. Verification of the ordinance of confidentiality of income and expenses.
I can verify the city does have such ordinance that is in effect currently.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept that verification.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Ms. Clerk, City Clerk's verification, statement of verification.
Yes, thank you, Chair Asia. So we do have a member who has met mandatory training. That is Eric Driswicki. He has submitted. Sorry, he has submitted his statement today. So we have that. We have the first one that the members have met the mandatory training. The law has changed where only one member needs to meet that every year. So if you'd like to make a motion to,
Should we accept that?
yes.
That we did? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept that we did meet the requirements for
So moved.
training. Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Okay. And I will verify that the assessor's office has filed the annual assessment report.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the clerk's verification that the summary of annual assessment had been filed.
So moved.
Second. All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay. And I will also verify that the roll has been submitted by the assessor's office.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept that the assessment rolls have.
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right. Do we have the assessment rolls
Oh, I'm
anywhere?
sorry, there's one more, Mr. Asia, number 4. I received the assessment roll and sworn statements.
Okay, entertain a motion that the clerk's office did receive assessment roll and sworn attachment.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All approved?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, do we have, we usually have the rolls around here somewhere, right? And somebody can. Electronic. Okay, who would like to go, who from the board would like to go over and look at their property and okay, good. Has the assessor's office made corrections of any errors prior to coming before the board today?
Hold on a second.
Russ? Okay, yeah.
Well, we've had a few changes at Open Book that we incorporated into the role. So any changes that were made prior are all present and accounted for in the role itself.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Everything looks okay?
Looks good to me.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion that you reviewed the roles and they look okay?
Yeah, I move to approve.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Who does the, would that be Russ to go on now with add omitted property? I think you already said that. I think he, or double assessed property, if any.
Right. There wasn't any double assessed. There weren't any errors to correct. And we
Okay.
have incorporated all the Open Book changes into the role.
And the taxpayers may examine assessment. They did, if they wanted to.
Yeah, they can.
Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to accept everything that the assessor's office did that he just mentioned. All in favor? Or
Motion.
Second. Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That'll take care of. Should take care of that. Okay. I'll turn to the clerk now. Do we have any waivers of 48-hour notices or any other information that you're aware of?
So wait, let's see. We are on now
Aye.
I-1. Okay. So we did receive a request for a review from an entity They did submit a document well within the 48-hour limit. They had to actually make some adjustments on the document, which they submitted last night. But I will turn it over to, in just one moment, to the assessors to talk about that. Additionally, we do have another person who contacted me at 8:40 this morning. So while the assessors are commenting about the Firehouse Flats, that particular waiver, then I'm going to actually, I have to go look at my email to see if I have anything from that person who contacted me at 8:40 this morning.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't think the one appeal received doesn't,
Actually,
not
I
associated with the
think
waiver.
Lacey and I talked about the Firehouse Flats, and if they're asking to appear telephonically, that has not been requested.
So, Mr. Chair, to my knowledge, we haven't received any request for waiver of the notice or request for waiver directly to circuit court or any request to testify by telephone or submit under I don't know of any requests we've received.
And I did not receive any such requests.
So at this moment, to my knowledge, there's no request to entertain under that section.
Okay. Were they requesting telephone?
I do not believe they requested a telephone testimony.
Okay.
Received such a request.
Did they? So there are. What is the status, I guess, of their appeal?
Right. So I'm going to turn that over to the assessor's office. They did submit some documents. It was missing information. They submitted that last night. I don't know. I don't believe that information was sufficient. However, even though they had given the request within the 48-hour period, they did not submit a request for telephone testimony.
Who in the assessor's office is going to cover that? Everybody passing the buck down the line.
I'm going to turn Scott's microphone on 1 second. It's
Oh.
under,
Yep.
is it next to Cheryl's, I think? There we go.
Okay.
Turn the mic, Scott. Or it's Nicole or Scott? Nicole. Okay.
I guess
Okay,
I'd like
Nicole.
clarification on the question you're asking.
I'm sorry.
What
You want
what
to speak
question?
really into the mic like that.
Okay.
Just give us the status of their appeal.
The status is that we received information to review this property. I believe it was April 22nd, and we received additional information for review regarding the income and expenses. That was given, I believe,
Could you turn your? I can't.
Monday
hear.
or Tuesday
Okay.
this week.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, at least from what was given to me, the copy of the objection form was missing details from section 4. I believe that was amended. I haven't seen that amended copy yet, but my understanding from talking to the assessor is that that was not correct or not accurate.
So all the information hasn't been provided.
That's correct. Yeah. I believe it is missing information.
Do they have a time to appear today?
That would be a question for the clerk. Are they scheduled?
They are not scheduled because they did not submit telephone testimony today.
Okay.
So unless they're here in person.
And I do not believe that they
request for
are.
anybody here.
Unless this gentleman here is,
No, it's fine.
well, of course, that's telephone testimony. Yeah.
Well, if we don't even have to make a motion or anything until.
Right, that would be under section J when we hear any of the notices of intent to file objections. I would suggest that the first item would be whether they're here, and if not, we haven't received a request to appear by phone.
Okay. Do we have any? Are there any appeals directly to circuit court this year?
I did not receive any appeals directly to circuit court.
Russ, you didn't get any either. Your
We have no
office?
waivers.
Okay,
We
no
haven't
waivers
approved
at
it.
all.
We haven't received
Okay,
any.
that's good. And we have no request to testify by telephone or written statements.
No.
Okay. Okay, I guess the only thing on the is that one person, but we
Right, we would move on, right, we can move on to J, which obviously I don't see anyone, but you can announce this would be the time for that if anyone was to come forward, and then we can look at the one appeal.
Okay.
But we haven't received that waiver, so it'd be up to the Board of Review to determine whether we hear that.
Okay. Are there any considerations with possible action of notice of intent to file objections, which is what we have now?
Yes, and we have to stay in session for 2 hours
Yeah.
in case someone were to come.
Okay, I guess we can't really adjourn, but we can relax.
Do we want to find out who that gentleman is on Zoom?
I'm sorry.
Do we want to find out who that gentleman is on
Yeah.
Zoom?
Who is, sir, who are you that's on our Zoom?
Yes, my name's Jake Polich. I'm with Pivotal Tax. I'm the agent for the taxpayer. So, are you saying there was something missing from our appeal? Because obviously we were given the link to the meeting here. I'm not sure what.
It's a public meeting, so everyone gets the link.
Okay.
No, you didn't file and notice it, a request to file or appear telephonically, which is required by law. And you also didn't fill out the objection form, section 4 properly because it says nothing was done within the past 10 years, which we both know that the property was entirely remodeled during that time frame. So based on that information, you're not allowed to have a hearing.
Okay. So you're saying, and what was the form that was filled out incorrectly?
I'm sorry,
The
I can
objection
answer
form
that.
itself.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you don't. I understand the objection form to the assessor, but specifically, in order for us to hear your appeal, you need to submit a request to appear by phone, to appear remotely, because state law requires appellants to be in person unless the Board of Review grants them an opportunity to appear remotely, and we haven't received that request.
As a point of
Okay.
clarification, there was a deadline for that request as well, correct?
There's a 48-hour deadline for appeals or a request to waive that, so that's sort of a separate waiver. Usually, if someone does submit an appeal, this form would have came with it for a request to appear remotely.
I'm sorry, I don't believe we can take your testimony because we have not received your notice that you would like to appear before us telephonically.
Okay, and how would we submit that? Is that a different form or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir. That's a different form. So on the website, there's a link to the forms in the Department of Revenue website that gives all the information that you would require. I believe that there was another objection not long ago on this property. So yeah, the form for telephone testimony you did not submit.
And if you filed it today, you're not meeting the 48-hour requirement rule. So I'll turn to our attorney, but I don't believe we can hear your objection today.
Okay, I'm just making sure I understand because I don't handle the filing, and the admin side of things, but I want to just make sure we understand it because we're in touch with the office all week, and then we received we were scheduled, so I'm just making sure that I'm just trying to figure out how to correct it for next time, basically. So.
Sure. So when you file a notice, so I think you did file timely to object to the property tax assessment. With that, our policy also requires a completed request to testify by telephone or submit a sworn written statement. That's a form that's associated with that. It's not just a simple request. There's criteria for that because, as I said, the presumption is that testimony will occur in person. If an owner representative of the property can come in person to the meeting, we're going to be here for at least 2 hours or 2 hours from the commencement of the meeting. I think the appeal could potentially be heard at that point, but someone needs to be in person because the request to appear by phone was not provided.
Okay, gotcha. And is there a specific name for that form, or you're saying if we reached out and asked for the request to appear telephonically, they would provide it.
Sure, it's a state form. It's PA-814. Department of Revenue has it available. Dewey, it's an official state form.
Okay.
It's not specific to the city.
If he they filed their appeal in a timely manner, if they would file the telephone, the request to appear by telephone today, we could vote then on whether we wanted to hear the testimony or not. Am I correct in that?
You'd first want to consider the criteria for hearing phone. Or,
Why they
right.
didn't appear.
Right. Yep.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Which is the criteria.
Okay.
We can go through that at the time, but if
Yeah.
they were to submit that, we would go through that
Okay.
process, vote on that, and then proceed if you so choose to.
Did you understand? You could file that form today for telephone testimony, and then we would vote on why you didn't appear in person and you want to do it by telephone. We, the board, will determine that. We'll vote on that. Hear testimony, vote on it. That's one alternative. The other alternative is have somebody here in the next 2 hours.
Okay, so so are you saying we would submit it and then you would vote on it today and then we would reschedule basically, or?
No,
No,
this is the meeting.
this is
Sorry, Mr.
this is all or none.
Right. So I'm just trying to, so you're saying I would give my testimony and then we would send it and then you guys would vote on it later?
No. You would, if you file your form today,
Mhm.
we'll vote. Then you're going to have to give us testimony of why somebody's not here in person.
Right. And when would I give that?
You'll give that as soon as you file your form and we have it on file and you want to come in and do a telephone, provide testimony by telephone, then we would hear your testimony of why you're not here in person and why you want to do it by telephone. And then we would vote on whether we agree that you should testify by telephone because you gave us reasonable grounds of why you could not have been here in person.
Okay. So I would file it and then come back on and explain it.
Exactly.
So you're going to want to send that directly to me. Do you have a pen and paper handy?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Celestine.Jeffries. I'm going to spell this at greenbaywi.gov. So
Okay.
that's CELE, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, I, N as in Nancy, E, .Jeffries, JEFFREYS as in Sam at greenbaywi.gov.
Okay. Okay. I will. And is there a way of, will you just kind of let us know? We can jump back on the call and then I'll give that testimony once you get it.
If you provide your email address, I can email you. Yes.
Okay. Are you ready?
Ready? Go ahead and no. In the email, provide your
Oh,
email
when I
address.
send it.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
So you'll respond. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And just
I
for
guess
your-
for future reference, if I could, maybe perhaps as representative of the property, you would contact my office prior to a week before the board of review, perhaps like within the next couple weeks or after, if there's still a question. Waiting till a week before the board review isn't very good relationship as far as I'm concerned. So if you want to really discuss the property, talk to my office like maybe 3 months, 4 months prior to the board review instead of waiting till a week before. Just a point of view that
Well,
perhaps.
the subject property is based, the value is generated completely off the income. So it would not be possible to have contacted you 3 months ago. There's no income.
3 months ago, we're not looking at 2025 income. We're looking at 24, 23, and 22. So yes, it would be
Yeah, so
available.
audited income statements, generally those aren't available for big organizations like this within a month of the end of the year. They have.
Well, you could have contacted us within a month prior to the board review, not a week before. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
had
you said 3
information
months
as of the
ago,
end of
I'm
the
just explaining that that's not possible, but I will
Well-
go ahead and we'll get this figured out and we'll get back
Yeah,
on.
so I just wanted to just interject really quick because I don't want you to think that it's just as simple as filling out a form. So I would direct you to page 7 of the agenda packet that has the policy that was adopted regarding sworn telephone or sworn written testimony, because there is criteria for that. If you want to review that when you fill out your form and the information that you provide, part of it is the owner's stated reason for the request, fairness to the parties, the property's owner's ability to procure in-person oral testimony, etc. So if you want to check that policy before you submit the form, as I said, it's not just submitting the form. There's criteria which the board will determine if the owner had the opportunity or the ability to appear in person.
Okay, and you said that's on page 7 of the
Yep,
form?
it's page 7 of today's meeting packet.
Oh,
Just for reference, and we will be in session. The state law requires us to be here for 2 hours. But obviously if there's active items being addressed, we'll continue. But otherwise the meeting will conclude 2 hours after we began.
11 o'clock.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I have nothing further, Mr. Chair, if you.
Okay. No,
Otherwise, I would propose to suspend the recording and wait unless someone else appears or we have further
Sounds good.
proceedings.
okay.
Recording stopped.
All righty.
All right.
Okay, we'll look to hopefully get.
Russ, can you hear us? There he is.
Yes,
Can you
I
hear
am.
us?
Yep.
Good. Would you give us a market update, please?
Sure. I go through as far as new construction. We had actually 3,400 permits issued in 2024 for a value of like 34,883,000 compared to last year about 34 million. So a little bit more than last year. That's on the residential side. The commercial side, we're about 52 million, and last year was 50 million, so like $2 million more. For example, some of the new constructions like the City Center lofts, City East apartments, Finger Road apartments, the Ford apartments, rail yard building. As far as the sales for 2023, which we used to establish for 2025 or 2025 more values, the sales data, there were about 2,960 parcels reviewed for sale. Not all of them are legitimate. Some of them were just transfers for estate purposes and so on. But out of those, 766 were valid residential sales. And the market looked like it went up about 7% because we're dropped down to like 73.9% on those sales. On the commercial side, we had 97 valid sales, and the ratio on that was like 68%, which means about a 4% increase over last year. So overall, the sales indicated on the commercial side when we stratify them, which is grouping individual properties that are like together and throwing out the ones that don't really fit the market, we're about 71%. And we do sales reviews every year. So over the years, in 2020, we had an increase about 11%. 21, we had an increase year over year of 12%. 22 was 8%. 23 is 12%. And 24 looks like we had an 8% increase. So as you can see, the market hasn't really slowed down, even though the rates are still fairly high. So there's a big push. And there's some areas that Alex can attest to in around Lambeau that the houses are selling as soon as they come up on the market. So it's interesting. As far as the state goes, they're looking at our sales analysis that we're at about 74% as far as the mean ratio on the residential and about 79% on the commercial, which means we're out of compliance. Obviously, we're on a cycle where we do revals every 5 years now. So our next scheduled reval is for 2027. So next year we'll be going through a lot of the sales and setting up our models and so on in order to come up with the values for that reval. Hopefully we'll get that reval done earlier in the year than we did the last time around so that we're able to get in and out. But hopefully we'll also be able to have the reval board review take only 1 day like we did the last time. So kudos to my staff. They've done an awesome job this year again. as they do every year, and I noticed they got a nice picture taken of them, so for posterity, they can look back 20 years from now and see how good they looked then. And then they can look at me, what I looked like after 25 years working for the city, so. But that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
Anybody on the board of review have any questions? No. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good work for another year.
Yes, thank you. They did an awesome job.
We did receive a request for telephone interview from Firehouse. So we're going to bring him back up and listen to why they're not here. Basic for request is located out of state.
This is from Mr. Christopher Glidewell.
Yeah.
The clerk just passed that out to individuals in the room. This is for the purposes of the Zoom meeting. I'm not sure if that person is
Glidewell, Christopher Glidewell.
is available.
Yeah, I don't see him. On the Zoom.
You were going to send him an email and have him come back in?
Oh, I'm on now.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Is this person
Good. We did receive your request for telephone or sworn testimony by telephone, and now the board will hear why you do not have somebody here representing the property owner in person, and needed to have a waiver to present your testimony by telephone. So go ahead.
Tom really quick.
Oh, let's. We need to. I'll have the clerk swear you in. So if you'd raise your.
Just one item before that. This
Okay.
request is from Christopher Glidewell. The one I'm looking at, this is the one that we have, right? 1550 East McKellips Road, Suite Mesa, Arizona. So I'm not sure if this is.
Are you Christopher?
No, I'm Jake. Christopher is the president of our company.
Okay. Are you the legal representative in this matter for them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. If we'll have the clerk swear you in, if you could raise your right hand, state your name and address.
Jake Polich, 1550 East McKellips Road in Mesa, Arizona. Agent for the taxpayer, the property owner.
Okay.
Thank you. And do you affirm that you are going to provide that testimony you're going to provide today will be the truth and a fair representation of your client's interests?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, if you could provide us information on why you could not have a representative here in person today, but needed to do your testimony by telephone.
Yes, so we work with this property owner, and they own properties sort of all over the country. So we are just based out. We're not based out of the Green Bay area. So we're based out of our office is based out of Arizona. So we do kind of countrywide appeals in many different states for this property owner. So that's why we're not. We don't have somebody available in person there today.
Do you have somebody? This is locally owned. The property is locally owned by a Green Bay property owner.
Well,
The
I'm not-
property owner out of Fond du Lac, is he not?
what's that?
Is the property owner out of Fond du Lac?
I'm not certain, to be
You
honest.
don't know who the property owner is?
Well, it's a organization, and they own many different low-income housing complexes all over the country, Wisconsin, Oklahoma. So I'm not exactly certain where they're based out of.
I understand they have an office in Fond du Lac.
Could not somebody from Fond du Lac have been here to represent the property owner?
No, they're a low income housing organization where they're not property tax consultants or professionals in property tax or property tax hearings or assessment valuations. So there's people who work for the company there, but they're not handling there's no one there that's handling their property taxes. Our organization, Pivotal, we handle their property taxes, and we're based out of Arizona. So,
And you do all their assessment appeals
yes,
out of Arizona.
correct.
How often do you appear by telephone?
As often as necessary. It just depends. A lot of places there isn't really, there's not special requirements to appear by telephone, so it's hard to say.
Okay. Do we have any questions by any of the board members or discussion? Yes, Ron.
What is the address of the property? Under property address, it just says South Irwin Avenue. It doesn't give an address.
What's the address of the well, I think it's on the appeal. The appeal would have you're looking at the,
Oh, on the other side.
yeah.
No, it's
I
not.
believe the property address is 645 South Irwin.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Russ, would you like to make comment, or anybody from the assessor's office?
Well, just as I said before, they had ample opportunity to talk to us prior to the board review hearing. They didn't file the waiver in a timely fashion. I don't think the hearing should be held. That's my opinion.
Also, it's my understanding there's another issue on the appeal. Was
Right.
that based upon questions? Have there been any improvements made? And they replied no. Is that correct? Am I correct in that?
Yes, and obviously the property has undergone quite a bit of remodeling and upgrading to bring it to its current state. So to basically they lied on the form.
Okay.
That's it, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that. It's just that's a matter to hear to discuss if we take up the appeal. The first item is really just whether we allow them to provide testimony via phone. And I could go over the criteria again in the policy, or just refer you back to the policy on page 7. If you want, just really quickly, it's the stated reasons on the form. Again, I'm reading from page 7 of the packet. Fairness to the parties, the property owner's ability to procure in-person oral testimony and any due diligence exhibited by the property owner in procuring such testimony, ability to cross-examine the person providing testimony, the BOR's technical capacity to honor the request, and any other factors the Board of Review deems pertinent to deciding the request. So if you decide to, it would be a motion to grant the request or deny the request, and then if we did grant the request, we would go on to consider the appeal, and then we could take up the point about the accuracy of the information provided.
Okay, gotcha. Any board member like to have any more? We'd like some more discussion on this actual thing that we're considering right now, whether they should be given a waiver. If they've given us good reason why they should receive a waiver to testify by telephone. Would we like any more discussion on that before we vote? Okay. I would entertain a motion on this issue, whether we hear testimony or whether or not they provided adequate information to receive a waiver to testify by telephone. I would entertain a motion on that.
Well,
Yay or nay?
I would move that we would hear the testimony on the property.
You would
So
Yeah.
you'd approve the waiver?
I would approve the waiver. Yeah.
you would approve the waiver
Yes.
and allow them to testify.
Yeah.
Testify. Okay. Do we have a second? Okay, we do not have a second, so the motion did not pass. Do we have another motion not to accept the waiver?
Motion.
You did? Do we have a second on that motion? I'll second it. Okay, now would the clerk take a roll? And the motion is that we do not accept the waiver for telephone testimony.
Thank you, Chair Azier. So Chair Azier, how do you vote?
Yay.
That's a yes to deny.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then Mr. Druzwicki?
I'd like the record to show that I abstain, as I live only a block and a half from the residence in question and have several contacts within, so to avoid any appearance of conflict.
Thank you, Mr. Druzwicki. Mr. Sharp?
Nay.
Ms. Westmoreland?
Yay.
And Mr. Antono?
Yay.
Okay, so we have 3 yeses to deny the waiver, 1 abstention, and 1 no. So that passes to deny the waiver.
Okay. Okay, so we denied the waiver for testimony by telephone. So that concludes your presentation today.
Okay, thank you. Does that mean our evidence is still heard on the record, or just the appeal is essentially denied?
No, it's well. You have the your original filing is on file, but you can't testify before us today in opposition to whatever the assessment is of that property.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can always go to circuit court on it.
No, we can't.
Oh, he can't go. Oh, he can't. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
cannot go to circuit court either. Okay.
Okay, thank you for your time. Take care.
Okay, now we have another issue. I'll have the clerk provide information on the property of the property owner that contacted you.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Azier. So at 8:40 this morning, I'd received a phone call in the clerk's office from someone who is in Kansas who represents an entity at 116 North Military. They wanted to object to their valuation, and I said, the meeting is in 20 minutes. Are you here? No, we're in Kansas. So I said, well, you can contact me via email, and we'll go from there. So they did send me an email. They sent it to the clerk's front desk. And essentially, it was a paragraph from Mr. Eric Owens, who is the director of Schwartz and Associates in Overland Park, Kansas, objecting to the assessment. They did provide, I sent them the documents in order for them to be even remotely heard today. They did provide just the PA 115A, which is the objection to real property assessment. Not a lot of information is filled out there. I will let the assessor's office comment further. They also provided a document, a fairly lengthy document about which outlined the assessment and fair market value and comparables and all that kind of thing. They did not provide, I did email them just shortly after I received their documents, that they did not provide the waiver or the request for telephone testimony since they're in Kansas. I have not received that. If you just give me a moment so I can check my junk mail, because our filters are fairly strong here. Oh, well, here it is. 11 o'clock, like 3 minutes ago. Okay. So you give me a second to just, because I have to get it out of my junk mail. Okay. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, so all he did was resend the appraisal and resent the objection to real property assessment. And I'm just looking at the email that I'd sent, which I CC'd part of the assessor's office and our city attorney. And basically I said, you need to file forms. Here's the link to the forms on our website, and he did not file any.
So
of
we
those
don't have a
forms.
waiver
We do not.
form. Okay. Would you please read into the record the name of the property owner
Yes.
and the parcel number if you have it?
Yes, I certainly do. Just give
Okay.
me 1 second. So this is Military Avenue Property Group, represented by Swartz and Associates. The owner's mailing address is 19. No, I'm sorry, that's not the owner's mailing address. That's the agent's address. The address of the property is 116 North Military. The parcel number is 6-235-B as in boy. And that, of course, that address here is in Green Bay. And, oh, no, I'm sorry. Military Avenue Property Group, 1955 Atwood. I'm reading across instead of down, in Madison. That is the address of the property. I'll put that in the minutes.
The property's in, not Madison.
The property owner
Is in Madison.
is in Madison, excuse me.
Okay, and the property
is
here,
116
Military
North
Avenue.
Military.
Okay.
The agent is in Overland Park,
Okay,
Kansas.
okay,
Yeah.
good. We don't need to take any action on that. I just wanted to make a record of it, that we did receive it, that we did not receive a request for a waiver to telephone testimony, and therefore we will take no further action on this request.
Okay, thank you.
And it, just one, just additional note, we also didn't receive a waiver of the 48-hour notice.
Okay, and we
Did
didn't
not,
receive
neither.
it.
Not,
Okay,
correct.
Okay.
Did not, which doesn't
Okay.
prohibit us to proceed then.
Do we
Or
have
it's just
any
proceeding.
other business before the Board of Review? I will then entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Who's staying?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.